did it my way. I conquered the world. Now they yelling welcome home. Yeah, yeah. Love's gotta be the finest thing from above. No loose change, you know I keep it above. You're in the winner's circle, you know the winners is us. And there's no such thing as winning too much. And I ain't even
We have a
gotta
very
stand
special
to
guest
think
today.
about.
You have an elder UFC MMA fighter from freaking Hillsboro, Mo, and you have a 10-2 fight win streak in the UFC. It's crazy, mate. How you doing today?
I'm
Like,
doing great, brother. Thank you so much for having me. It's cool to be here with you. I'm glad that glad we're getting this in.
and then you train today. What'd you do? Like, you do jiu-jitsu?
Today was a sparring, so it was live rounds. This was like fight simulating hard goes, so just 3 5-minute rounds, really hard pace, treating it like a fight. So I'm a little bit tired right now. Literally just rushed home and scarfed down some food real quick, hop on here and um hopefully get recovered to go train later on.
But I really appreciate you taking time out of your day and doing this with me.
Anytime, brother. Glad to be here.
We know you have your roots in Hillsboro, and like, where you at right now?
I'm living in Las Vegas, Nevada right now.
Oh,
The kind of fight capital of the world. This is where the UFC Performance Institute and the UFC headquarters is in general. And Vegas has been long-standing kind of the fight capital of the world. So uh, anything and everything you need fight-wise is out here, really centrally located and convenient. So it's been out here for coming up on almost 2 years now, so it's been great. I really love it. I miss Hillsboro. I'll always be, Hillsboro is always my home. It's where my family is and where my heart is. But right now we got UFC gold to chase and dreams to achieve, and I think this is where I need to be.
what do you think your like favorite thing to do in Las Vegas is? Is it like being able just to go watch the fight cards and seeing all the UFC fighters, or what's your favorite thing to do there?
Just training. I pretty much, no matter where my life is and wherever I'm living, my life's pretty much the same. I'm training 2 times a day for the most part, and trying to live the lifestyle of a professional athlete, a professional fighter. So pretty locked in and disciplined. Of course, there's a lot of fun stuff to do out here in Vegas. I don't really go out and do too much or anything like that, but for the most part, it's just super dope getting to be at the UFC facility, like the official UFC Performance Institute. They got anything and everything that we could possibly need. And then there's constantly all kinds of, huge name guys and girls that are coming through, and we get to train with each other. And that's probably like the coolest part of being out here is getting to utilize that facility and getting to see all the people that come through there.
I just want to talk about like how did you go from like high school, like straight after high school into your career? Like, what did you want to do with it?
That's a funny question. I've always known I've wanted to fight. I
Mm-hmm.
was going to go the college route and kind of play it safe and get a degree. That way I had something to fall back on. And the only thing I was actually ever really passionate about outside of fighting for the most part, early on especially, was uh, special education. That's what I did 1 semester in school. I was going to be a special education teacher. um, and I just found out. I was like, dude, school ain't for me. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm gonna move to California and just chase my dreams. So packed up my car and moved out, and been chasing this dream ever since then.
Did you learn anything super valuable while you're in high school during those years, or
In high school,
yeah?
no, I was I was a really bad student in high school. I wish I wouldn't have been. I really didn't care at all about learning about anything. I was like, man, why am I wasting my time learning any of this stuff? I just need to be a good fighter. I thought that fighting was going to bring me all the success that I would possibly need in my life, and unfortunately, and fortunately, because I'm a firm believer that things happen for a reason, and at the very least, you can make uh something positive can come from anything that happens. So I was a little bit of a knucklehead in high school. I didn't care about anything except for training. I would sleep a lot of times during class and didn't really pay attention too much, and I really regret it and kick myself in the butt for it now, because I've fallen in love with the mind. I think our mind is like by far the most important tool that we have, and it's just like any other muscle that we have. You have to put it under stress. You have to challenge it and force it to grow, and it will. It absolutely will grow. The same way that you go lift weights in the gym, you challenge your muscles adequately and stress them appropriately, and then you give it time to rest and recover, and it'll grow. Our mind is no different, and I wish that I would have put the time and effort into growing my mind while I had the opportunity while I was in class and not slacking off, you know. But because now I really, really love learning because I think it challenges our mind and it's essential and foundational for everything that we do in our life. So, unfortunately, I can't say that I learned all that much during school because I was slacking off a lot, but now I think that I've really learned the value of how important knowledge is, you know.
So was there just like a moment throughout your high school career, like that you decided like you wanted to become a UFC fighter, or like you born up knew exactly what you wanted to do, or was there like a certain moment that kind of made you want to do it more?
Yeah, I would say ever since I was like 6 years old, I've known that I wanted to be a UFC fighter. I remember watching the fights with my stepdad and just being like, you know, we both thought, you know, we loved it and we thought, man, how amazing would that be if that was you know, me up there one day. And it felt like God put a calling on my heart ever since then of just like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be UFC world champion for sure. And so everything that I've ever done you know, even all throughout school and ever since then has been, you know, I might do other things with my life, but the goal, you know, my North Star is like I'm working towards being UFC champion. So I wouldn't say there was any one moment particular, but it was just it feels like for as long as I could possibly remember, I've had this goal of like one day find out how to I'm gonna find a way to not just be a UFC fighter, but UFC champion.
So I've heard of like a lot of things about you being like a super focused guy about like doing any small thing you do.
I think that you know, how you do anything is how you do everything. I'm a firm believer in that, and I think that if you if you are willing to pay attention to the small details outside of the cage and, you know, really put in the effort in every area of your life, that directly translates to the effort and ability you can put into the things that you're actually passionate about, you know. So a lot of times I used to always think that as long as I go to the gym, as long as I'm super disciplined, just like I was saying with school, I kind of slacked off. I didn't care. Uh, I was like, I don't need to do all that stuff. I just need to be focused on the gym. So I would like save up my focus and my discipline and my hard work. And so I would just play video games, eat junk food, and be, you know, a normal kid outside of training. And then when I go to training, I would lock in and try to do everything right. But later on down the road, I figured out that like, hey, I'm actually I'm actually not doing everything right that I'm thinking about because everything right includes what you're doing outside of the gym as well. You know, what you're eating, what you're how you're sleeping, you know, what you're consuming through social media. Are you reading? Are you just, you know, slacking off? Are you doing your recovery? Are you stretching? All these things matter and it all accumulates to add up to the one single moment in time when it matters most. You know, whenever you're challenged and have to present your artwork to the world, essentially. And for me, that's, you know, the one moment that we're in the cage, and so every single little thing that you do accumulates to add up into that single moment you get in the octagon in front of the whole world. So, how you do anything is how you do everything. We should be disciplined everywhere, and in my opinion, it absolutely does play a factor.
How much does that factor like help you in the cage, you think?
Yeah, I think it matters a lot because I think it helps a lot because you put your mind under a lot of stress in a fight. Like it's crazy, super stressful moment, and um, just like a muscle, right? Just like we were just talking about. When you go to say you go to max out on a back squat, right? You put as much weight as you could possibly handle on that bar. Any little bit of any little trying to find a good way to word this, any little bit of slacking that you've done in the gym is going to get exposed under that extreme stressor. That extreme weight challenging your maximum capabilities is going to expose any flaws or weaknesses that you have. And I think your mind is the same way when it comes to a super high pressure situation like a fight. If you've been finding ways to slack off, as in like I'm lazy about doing my dishes at the house, or I'm showing up to the gym as soon as practice starts. I'm not being disciplined and getting there early and getting the stretching in, and because it doesn't seem like it really matters that much. Or if I've been cutting corners on my diet, any way that you're cheating your mind, knowing you're not giving your best, that is going to get exposed when it comes down to that maximum pressure situation that is the fight. And I think that if you're disciplined all the time, it will allow you the ability to sharpen and strengthen your skill of discipline, which is ultimately going to be tested in the most chaotic moments in the fight. Of like how disciplined are you able to stay even whenever everything's telling you to quit and to take it easy, take the easy way out. I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm hurt, I'm bloody. Your brain is constantly feeding you these negative thoughts of like, hey, I don't want to be in here. I want the easy way out. And if you're used to taking that easy way out by slacking on your diet, or being lazy at the house, not doing the things you're supposed to outside of training, then it's just one more possible way that your brain can trick you into to giving up.
How easy would you say it is, like in between rounds, is it to give up? Like whenever you're in those super close fights and like your coaches are telling you you're down some, like what do you think in those moments?
I think that we train ourselves to that's whenever that's whenever you reel your mind back in, and you're like, hey, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm hurt, or whatever. But what's the goal? What like your coaches are telling you, hey, bro, you got to be countering that leg kick every single time he throws. Make sure you're moving your feet. Keep your right hand up. He's trying to set up that high kick. You're trying to take in all that information, and that's your time to dial back in, get out of that, um, to kind of get away from the negative things that your mind might be telling you whenever you're under the pressure of the fight of, getting kicked in the body and punched and beat up and exhausted. Your brain's looking for those ways out. The corner time is that time to kind of reel your mind back in and be like, hey, let's go, dude. Sharpen up and keep your mind straight. Here's what you need to focus on. Get back out there and do that. So then you can get back out there and stay focused on the game plan.
And then what fighters did you really watch growing up and like try to base your style off of?
My favorite fighter of all time is George St. Pierre. I think he's just the most cerebral fighter. He's just very intelligent with his approach. I think he was one of the first guys to um, really kind of break the barbaric meathead mentality of fighting, of mixed martial arts, and kind of took it to a whole nother level, helping people to understand that we have to be um, more than just a fighter, in the cage. We got to be disciplined with strength and conditioning and, our diet and what we're consuming mentally. Are we reading? Are we challenging ourselves in that department? So I think that George St. Pierre was probably one of my biggest role models growing up. And but I always loved watching guys like Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz, Rampage Jackson, Vanderlei Silva, Forrest Griffin. The infamous Forrest Griffin Stephan Bonner fight is, still to this day one of the most iconic fights in the history of the sport. Both of those guys, left it all in the cage and made it possible for guys like me to even be here, because I don't know if you know that story, but the UFC was close to having to call it quits because things just weren't going that well. And then that fight single-handedly kind of changed the course of the UFC. And a lot of people attribute the UFC's current success to that single fight alone, because it might have been the turning point in the UFC's career where people really kind of caught on and started becoming fans because it was such an epic fight. So, all those guys, people like, all those names I just mentioned, they've always been um, fighters I watched growing up. I tried to emulate and take a piece of everybody's game, and if I could have sick overhand right knockout power like Chuck Liddell and crazy takedown timing like GSP and a freaking crazy chin and willingness to fight like Vanderlei Silva, like just stuff like that. So it's been a ton of guys, a lot of them that I watched growing up. Not any one particular in specific, maybe outside of like George St. Pierre, I'd say is my favorite fighter. But it was a lot of different guys that I kind of tried to emulate and helped me to fall in love with this sport growing up.
And then who mentored you throughout all of these like high school? Who trained you?
I was training at a little gym locally in Festus, Missouri. Whenever I first started, I was there for about 5 years. It was Han MMA, and during that time, during that time, I wouldn't say I had like a mentor, but my first real big experience around um like some higher name guys, some people that I like really looked up to that I actually got to be around in person was whenever I moved to California. Whenever I was 19, I trained at the Nick Diaz Academy. It was Nate Diaz's gym, but those guys really kind of helped me out a lot. Getting to be around people like Nick Diaz, and their whole squad. It was super eye opening to me that this is possible, and getting to be around super high level guys makes it feel like the dream is more tangible. It's not just something I'm thinking of or watching on TV. It's like I get to be in the same room as some of these guys that I've been watching for forever. So but truthfully, I would say one of my biggest mentors throughout my career has been Michael Chandler. I got to train with him a lot whenever I was in Killcliff down in Deerfield Beach, Florida. And he's from High Ridge, Missouri. Went to Northwest High School, and just one town down from me. And whenever I first started training, he had just won the Bellator World Title, so he had always been somebody I really looked up to. And it was really really special for me to get to train with him and to kind of be mentored by him. I got to be in his corner for his last Bellator fight, and he's really played a really big role on my career and the fighter that I am today. So I would say Michael Chandler has probably been the biggest mentor that I've had as far as in regards to big name guys that kind of took me under their wing. Man, there's been so many other guys that have really, really played a big part and touched my life a lot. So I just figure Michael Chandler would probably be the most notable one to most of the people.
What really makes him like just stand out the most out of all these people you named, and like what makes him the greatest coach?
The thing that helped me the most is like he is huge on the mindset part as well. Of like how you conduct yourself off the mats is going to carry you over to on the mats, and just being a super exciting entertainer, somebody that's always willing to go to war and is going to give their absolute best every single time they step in the cage. That's always been something I really look up to and admire is regardless of the outcome, knowing that he's going to go out there and die on his shield. Like, hey, I came here for battle. I came here for war, and this is what we're going to do. I'm not going to run around and just try to skate by and just hope that I'm okay. I'm going to go out there, throw myself into the fire, and be able to look back on this moment for a lifetime with with gratitude and appreciation the for the effort that I put in that fight. So anyway, stuff like that. And uh he he really helped me a lot with the mental side of things, and what it meant to think intelligently about this sport as well.
Now that you're like of the elite level in the UFC and stuff, like is there any things you see in like upcoming fighters that like makes them stand out? Any tips you could give them?
Just tenacity, dude, just the willingness to like never give up. That is like the biggest thing, because dude, this sport is so hard and there's so much to learn, and it's just a never ending journey. And no matter how good or not good you are currently, there's so much more to learn. And it just takes a unbreakable will of like, dude, I'm gonna refuse to settle for anything less than my absolute best. And so I would say the biggest thing is just people that have a relentless work ethic is what always stands out to me. That's what I've always tried to pride myself on, is just the willingness to continue to give more and never give up. So that's probably the biggest thing that stands out most for me, because I've seen all kinds of guys, all kinds of people that have a ton of talent. Some of the most talented people I've ever met in my life that are like super skilled, and things came super easy to them. Like, I don't know how they just understood technique right away. It's like you show them one time and they just get it. Um, I've seen those people not be able to make much of a career a lot of times because whenever the going gets hard, like it's going to in a fight, inevitably, like things are gonna be tough. Every single moment of a fight sucks. Even just from the work, the walkout, the nerves that hit you in the back and like dealing with all the pressure and the anxiety of a fight. Um, Most people are gonna fold to that if you don't have that ridiculous level of grit and perseverance, like just a unwillingness to concede, to never give up, So, anyways, yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing is just the mindset of like, I will never give up.
Have you ever had any of those moments where you thought you couldn't get back up?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've had plenty of times where I was like, the moment was bigger than me and it broke me. But it's even then, it's after those moments, particularly, right? Because that's going to happen inevitably. Is that like we're going to have moments where we do get so tired that we can't keep going, or we get knocked out, or we get submitted, and we do get finished, whatever is how are you going to be able to pick yourself back up after those moments and yeah, I've had all my the two losses I've had in my pro career were tough, um and particularly my UFC debut. I took the fight on short notice and gassed out really fast and was exhausted and was in a bunch of deep submissions and getting choked and beat up the whole fight. And the whole fight, my mind was trying to get me to quit, and I just refused to, and ended up having a decent performance just off of the willingness to continue to fight and never give up. So um, yeah, dude, every single successful person you will ever see in your life has had tons of moments of failures and these moments where they lost, or they even gave up momentarily, but they refused to quit ultimately, and were able to pick themselves back up, dust themselves off, and to just try again and just try again and just try again and just try again. And there's a lot of super successful people are like, dude, I've failed way more times than most people have even tried, and that's what's made them successful. So it's that's again why I think that mindset part is like what is going to bring you the most success, is because you have to be willing to put yourself out there and to look like a fool, get beat up, and take chances, because that's where we're really going to learn the most. But it's inevitable that you're going to have those temporary failures or shortcomings, and have to just get back up and try again and try again.
What do you think your greatest moment outside of the UFC cages?
Greatest moment of my life ever. I mean, the only thing I can think of is just time with my family. It's like that's what I feel like generally brings me the most happiness and fulfillment, is like getting to spend quality time with my family, especially since I've moved away from home since I was 19. So I feel like I'm not home very much. I don't get to see my family all the time. So, uh, but yeah, man, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to think on that. I can't think of like any one grandiose moment that I was like, man, that was the best moment in my life. I've had a lot of cool trips. I've gotten to travel the world a little bit now that, just from fighting and stuff, and been to Brazil and Australia, Singapore, all over the US. And, a lot of those moments are super dope. Getting to be at amazing places with some of the coolest people I've ever met in my life, whether it be close friends, or training partners that become close friends, traveling and getting to be in their corners for fights and seeing them win and get their hand raised, and all the excitement that is, that they get to experience, is like some of the coolest moments for me too. So, um, I can't say I got any one particular moment like this was the single-handed most coolest thing I've ever experienced, but it would definitely be something like that, some one of those moments.
What do you think was the best piece of advice, like, that you've ever heard of, like, growing into
Mm.
yourself?
Man, I probably sound like a broken record, but it would have to be something going back to what I was talking about, that mindset, dude, of just like whatever you need in order to comprehend hey, dude, this is going to be way harder than you even have the ability to comprehend right now. You just have to keep going. Like, just, dude, never, ever, ever give up. Just try it again. You're going to want to quit. You probably will quit momentarily at times. Just try it again. Just try it again. Just try one more time, as many freaking times as you possibly can. Um, and to truly, truly, truly give your best, because I think so many people, their bar is set so low and what they expect of themselves. And a lot of times it's because of the people you surround yourself with. If everybody else around you sets their bar really low and they try one time, they give a half hearted effort and they fail. And they're like, well, I tried my best. Dude, you have no idea what it means to actually try your best. Like, you have so much inside of you that it's going to take everything you could possibly manage to pull that out of you. And it's going to take so much work, but there's nothing in this lifetime that is more worth it than repeatedly trying your best to be your best, because ultimately that's how you're going to get the best out of this life. I'm a big quotes guy. I love quotes. I think uh, the words that we tell ourselves are really important, because our words are, our thoughts become our actions, and our actions uh, determine our destiny. So I think that if you can tell yourself better thoughts, if you can tell yourself better words, and to generate better thoughts, you're going to create better actions, which is going to create a better life. And I can't think of any really good quotes that pertain to exactly what I was just talking about just now, but um, one that just came to my mind is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And just the that principle of just like, dude, outwork everyone. Just push yourself to the absolute limits in every single capacity of your life. And once you think you've done enough, like you've done everything that you possibly can, find out how to give more, because I promise you, you haven't. Because your current understanding of like what your best is only going to continue to evolve. So you're going to find out that your current best, your current limitations are not your actual limitations. It's just the best that you understand right now, and that's going to change as you continue to do more. So, um, yeah, I would sum it up. Just freaking best piece of advice if I ever got was just never give up, and try one more time. Just try one more time to infinity.
What is your dream UFC fight? Like, if you could pick anybody to fight, current, inactive, who would it be?
I would have to say just whoever the champ is, because I want to myself against the best in the world, and if I've earned that title fight, then that means that I have put myself into a position where I've beat everybody else, um, and proven that I am one of the very best in the world, and earn the spot to challenge to be the best in the world. So my dream fight's always going to be whoever the champion is. And if it was just for fun, my dream fight would probably be like some legend that I used to watch growing up. I would love, something like like a Clay Guida. Just because he's just been such a Clay Guida is a guy that me and my family, my friends used to always love watching, because just a crazy dude, brought crazy energy, left it all out there every single time. A Diego Sanchez, um, just these crazy dudes that just love war. That would probably be like um one of my favorite fights that I could possibly pick. But other than that, dude, it's always gonna be whoever the champion is, because I want to test myself against the best in the world to prove that I am, uh, one of the best in the world.
And then I got another question. How did you get the nickname Phenom?
The Phenom comes from kind of a little bit of a long story. Whenever I was first wanting to move away from home, I lost my third amateur fight to a guy that ended up being in the UFC. And it was kind of the kick in the butt that I needed to be like, hey, man, if you want to do this like you say you do, you got to dedicate everything to it. So I was going to just up and pack my car and drive to California and go find a good gym to train at, because I needed to get out of Hillsboro, Missouri, and take myself out of the little pond and go be the small fish in the big pond. So anyways, I was trying to sell some shirts as a fundraiser to raise some money in order to be able to pack my car up and drive out to California, have some money to be able to figure things out for a while. And I was making shirts and I didn't know what to put on the shirts. And everybody was like, oh, whatever your fight nickname is. And I was like, I don't really have one. And they were like, well, like, what do people always call you? And it made me think the local MMA reporting company around my area was called Knuckle Junkies. So they would go to all the fights and do write-ups and journalism on how the fights went, who did well, who lost, who won. And my very first actual fight that I ever had, I was 15. I had a kickboxing match against a dude that was like 23. He was supposed to be pretty good, and I ended up head kicking him in the second round and then finished him with a left hook. And they were like, 15-year-old phenom Evan Elder, defeats so and so in his debut. And every time that I would fight after that, they would refer to me as the phenom. They were like, the phenom Evan Elder, 16 years old, has won his, sixth kickboxing match and is looking like a promising prospect or whatever. And so every time that they did a write up, they would refer to me as the phenom. So I eventually adopted that nickname whenever I was trying to make shirts as a fundraiser to go out to California, and it's just stuck ever since then. Everybody kept calling me the phenom. So that's what we went with.
Oh yeah, the Nick Diaz story. Yeah, I really want to hear that.
So Nate Diaz. It was Nate. It was
Oh,
Nate.
it's Nate.
Yeah. So um, essentially, without going on a super crazy long tangent, because it's a really long story, but it's really cool. One of my favorite stories ever is whenever I first moved out to California, I was I made some money off of those shirts and had some people help me out. I got a couple sponsors and was doing what I needed to do in order to go pack up my car and just head out west and live in California to go chase my dreams. And I was going to train at the Nick Diaz Academy, and my family was like, hey man, don't you think like you should call out there and make sure that you're able to come train with them? And I was like, man, they probably get 100 calls a day. Everybody wants to be a fighter. Everybody wants to be a tough guy. Everybody's going to show up and be the best fighter in the world. I was like, I don't want to just be another dude that calls and wastes their time, because that's probably the way they look at it a lot of times. And I was like, dude, if I show up and I pay whatever they ask me to pay, if I work as hard as possible and I treat everybody well, I've always thought about being undeniable. Those couple things, like if I do whatever's asked of me and I work as hard as I possibly could and I treat everybody right, I should be undeniable. And so that's what I did. I packed up my car and I went out there and didn't call ahead or nothing. And showed up and the gym was closed, like shut down, like they weren't training. So I sat outside the gym for uh like 6 hours every single day for like almost a week straight, just waiting for somebody to show up. I'm like, dude, I just moved my whole entire life to come train at this gym and it's not even open. And eventually I messaged everybody on Instagram that had been tagged in any of the Nick Diaz Academy posts and let them know, like, hey, my name is Evan Elder, I'm 19, I just moved out here, I'm trying to train with you guys, pursue my dream of being UFC champion. And finally, one guy got back to me and was like, hey, man, gym's just closed for a couple months. We're remodeling we're moving and remodeling a new gym. So they told me to go to another small gym that they train at. So I went down there. I went to this other gym they told me to train at in the meantime while they were closed. I met a guy named Rudy, and Rudy was real close with Nate Diaz. And once I got to know Rudy, I saw him around town, and particularly at a small lifting gym called In Shape, where we would just go and like work out, lift weights. So Rudy was there with Nate a couple times and he introduced me to Nate. So Nate had seen me. I'd gotten to talk to him and meet him in person, maybe 3 times, 4 times. And super long story short, their gym was taking forever to get built. I still wasn't training at their gym. I was training at some small gym, and I was running out of money, completely out of money. Like I remember I was buying In-N-Out burgers with change that I had saved up in a Pringles jar, and pulling into In-N-Out Burger one day, I think is where it was. I clipped my tire on a curb, and it bent my rim, destroyed my tire. And it was kind of my breaking point. You asked earlier about, if I'd had any of those breaking point moments where I gave up and wanted to give up. This is actually one of them. busted my tire. I got it to the shop and they were like, hey, it's going to be like $500. And I didn't have the money. Called my family and was just like, dude, I tried. I thought I was doing the right thing. I did the best that I could. And, but I'm giving up, dude. I'm coming back home. Once I get this tire fixed, I'm going to just come back. I guess I'll try to figure it out back there, back home. I was done. And, my girlfriend at the time, I was dating a girl and I called her to tell her like, hey, I'm gonna come home, dude. I'm giving up. Like I tried and this just didn't work out. I've been out here for months, not training at the gym that I hope to be at, and spent every dollar that I saved up to get out here. Freaking ruined my car. And anyway, she was like, "Hey, you're probably just crazy frustrated, and you need to clear your mind. Like, just go for a walk." And I was like, "Sure. What else is there to do?" I was sitting at the car, the mechanic, waiting to get my tire changed. And so I walked outside and I was just walking down the street and a blacked out SUV comes rolling up next to me and it's he rolls down his window and it's Nate Diaz, and he's like, yo, dude, what are you doing walking, man? And I was like, I just freaking busted my tire and got to get it changed. And he was like, dude, hop in. We're going to the new gym right now. We got he had a bunch of gear in the back of his car, big old SUV, and they were taking a bunch of gear to the gym to go drop off so they could, remodel the gym and get it open soon. And anyways, I that pretty much saved my fighting career out there, at least, of it. After that day, they I went to the gym, helped him drop off the gear. I met the head coach, and the head coach was like, hey man, we're training here tonight at 7 p.m. if you want to come back and train. So I showed up, did jujitsu with him, and stayed there. And this was several months before the gym even opened. There was just mats on the floor. So yeah, pretty crazy story, dude. It's unbelievable how I really, really believe, man, if you truly, truly try your best, it's there's and you're patient and consistent enough to wait for the opportunity to show up, like you're gonna get the chance um to do what you called to do. So anyways, yeah, that was definitely one of those moments where I was defeated, gave up, and by God's grace, just had an opportunity to save me, and I stayed out there for another year after that. After I thought I was hanging it up and throwing in the towel, driving back home to Missouri, stayed out there for another year, and then moved back home to Missouri and ended up in Florida for the last 5 years. Got to train in one of the biggest gyms in the world with some of the best guys in the world, and now I'm out here in Vegas and been doing my thing.
And I have another question. Would you have any advice for students that feel like helpless and less than others and don't really feel seen?
Yeah, man, it's the same advice that I was kind of preaching on this whole time dude, just you gotta find something that you're passionate about, something that's good for you, that you're passionate about, that you are willing to dedicate your life to. Of like, dude, I'm gonna be the best that I can possibly be at this thing, and just never give up at it. Like, find something that's going to be good for you, something beneficial for your life long term, and commit down that path and just be like, dude, I'm never giving up on this. It's going to be hard. It's hard for everybody. Dude, life is hard. Life is hard for every single person here. And we just have to build the mental resilience to not let life break us, and to know that one of my very favorite quotes ever is by Marcus Aurelius, ancient Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor at one time. And he said, if it is humanly possible, consider it too within your reach. And I love that so much, because he's basically just saying, if somebody else can do it, you can too. Because we are, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. Even the best of men are at best men. Everybody bleeds the same blood. And dude, we are truly all the same thing. And if somebody else can do it, so can you. It's just going to be really hard and take way more work and effort than you even understand how to give at the moment. But if you truly commit yourself and never give up, you can turn into a person that you never even thought that you could. And, you know, you could be doing that thing that you only dream of, and turn that dream into a reality if you truly commit yourself and never give up.
And then I think I'm gonna have one more question for you today, and it's just about weight cuts. How brutal are those weight cuts really?
The worst thing in the world, bro. I fighting's hard, but weight cuts are harder. It really is. It's and we probably already play a pretty ridiculous game. It's not really a game. I don't like to consider it a game because you don't play fighting. Uh, you
Mm-mm.
might get on the field to play a football game or play a basketball, but I don't think that you play fighting. It's serious. You know, you're there's a lot of repercussions, and cutting weight makes that game so much harder. Makes that not so much of a game way harder. It's the hardest part of it, and but it's also part of what makes it, you know, the best sport in the world because it's so few people are able to put themselves through that and then go perform at an unbelievably high level the very next day. And it's all just added up and accumulated to make one of the toughest things that you could possibly do is as far a sports endeavor to go compete at the highest level against some of the most savage people in the world after freaking nearly killing yourself in a weight cut the day before. And yeah, the weight cuts, I hope that we could figure something out about it someday to where, maybe it doesn't have to be as extreme or severe, but as of now, it's unfortunately embedded in the game and in the sport and just a part of the process. So I would highly recommend not doing it. Don't do weight cuts. I advocate now for I don't know, man. It's hard because I was just about to say I advocate for cutting less weight and fighting closer to a natural weight, but when it comes to competing at the very highest level in the world, everybody's trying to get any little advantage that they can. That's why they try to cut the most weight that they possibly can is to be the bigger, stronger guy the next day. And it definitely it definitely is a part of the sport for a reason. So uh yeah, I would like for it to be figured out to where it's not as extreme one day, but as of now, it is what it is.
How much do you think you like walk in on fight night? Like
I
you have to make 155, but like what do you think you're walking in at the fight?
They usually weigh us before we go, before we get on a scale
Hmm.
or we get on the bus to go to the venue so they can kind of tell that. But I usually get on the scale at 178 the day after I weigh in at 155. So I'm 23 pounds heavier getting into the cage. 22 because I only got to make 156 championship
Hmm.
weight 155. But yeah, so about 20 to 25 pounds bigger than I was 24 hours previously. And it's a lot. It's extreme. So
What do you usually walk around at weight wise?
right now I'm about 185.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
85, 186 is pretty typical for me. I'm a pretty good size lightweight, uh, but it's not very uncommon to be 30 pounds, over your fight weight pretty generally walking around outside of camp.
I don't think I have any more questions for you today.
Well, man, thank you so much, dude. It was great to talk to you. I'm excited to see what you do in your future. Keep keep what I said in mind, dude. I'm telling you. I'm just that's been, you know what, one last thing I will add is being from a small town, Hillsboro, Missouri, growing up our town population was, less than 2,000, maybe less than 3,000. I don't remember exactly what it was, but small town kid with big dreams, wanting to compete in front of the whole world to represent for my family, my loved ones, and the people that mean the most to me. And dude, if it is humanly possible, consider it too within your reach. If anybody else can do it, you can too. It's just going to take everything you've got. It's that easy. It's that easy. It's just going to take everything you've got. Um, but if you truly want to commit yourself to something and think that and find something that is going to be good for you long term, commit yourself to that journey and decide right now today that like I'm never giving up on this. I'm going to do this and be my best to have the best life that I can to get the most out of this lifetime so I can give back the most that I possibly can to everybody else trying to do the same. And you can do anything, bro. You really can. you can do things far beyond what your your current imagination can even withstand. So just believe that. Believe in that. Take it from a kid that's been in your exact situation and position. Just a small town kid with big dreams and making it happen because just like me, just like anybody else, we're all just people and bleed the same. And even the best of men are at best just men. And you can do anything you put your mind to, bro.
Well, I really want to say thank you for today, and just letting me get the opportunity to talk to a UFC fighter is I'm very grateful for, and I just really appreciate that.
Of course, man. Anytime. Hopefully, we'll do it again in the future.
Hopefully.